Hey everyone, this is Samuel Dudley, aka Saki Branton of CCTV Studios. I hope you all are doing well, and that 2024 hasn't been a complete train wreck for any of you, and I sincerely hope not. I myself have been pretty busy these past 2 years, what with real life, just going all the way and all that good stuff, and just not making any videos sadly. Well, not many as I'm used to making if you've been on my channel for so long. In fact, since the beginning of 2023, only 48 videos, including this one, were uploaded to this channel, and I'm pretty sure at least 80, maybe 85% of them were just cover songs anyway. I mean, a different direction, thank you. That's one thing, but comparing to the dozens and dozens of videos I released in my younger years on like all different varieties too, I can safely say I had a lot of free time on my hands, and that's not counting all the other channels I've managed over the past 10 years, specifically the Dave Chipotle channel. Why you guys haven't checked out his content is a mystery to me. Like, if you love what I do with my comedy, then this guy is like on a different level. Like, I'm kind of jealous of what he's done, how he delivers his comedy too, so please check that channel out when you can too. Like, there's food challenges, video game stuff. Anyway, I'm getting off on topic. Back on my end. You might have noticed recently, like in the past couple of days, hopefully at the time this video is released, that a series of 4 videos were uploaded at the beginning of this month, where you could watch some of my really old videos if they were on, like, you know, a VHS tape. Those being the first couple of YouTube poops I ever did as a collection, the first Pink Apocalypse on Parade shorts, if they were compiled as a movie, and then the first volumes of One Piece manga dub and the preschool guides respectively, as if we were showing off the first 3 episodes of a particular series or season or something. These were my April Fool's pranks for this year. Did I get you? I bet you never knew that my projects were as old as your uncle's Betamax collection. I cracked myself up. I mean, I tried to. Well, while it was at the time interesting to compile all those old videos if they were on a VHS tape, I mean, I got a real nostalgic kick from making the idents and the stuff that came before, during, and after the actual stuff themselves. Something slowly came to mind about my really old videos. They were terrible. I mean, I know, big shock, right? Like, any person can look back on past creations and just cringe, but maybe that's because subconsciously you're continuing to improve your craft and that you're content with getting better over time, no matter how long it takes. I mean, I get that, and obviously I feel that too, but you want to know what else came to mind while acknowledging their terribleness? They make me feel really, really, really uncomfortable. Let me explain. If you were to show me the full list of videos that I have uploaded to this channel by release order, this is going back, what, 15 years? I could tell you where I was in my life with each and every one of them, as silly as that sounds. Like, some memories that I can see with the videos are rather pleasant, enjoyable, even heartwarming. I mean, do I even need to mention my wife and I meeting on YouTube and then getting married a short time after meetings said? Like, we've been married for nearly 13, maybe 14 years, so, I mean, enough said on that. Just not to mention, like, all the other little things that have made me feel particularly proud for, like, say, improving myself as a content creator or as a person in general. That stuff, you can't take that away from me. And then you get the bad memories. And trust me, there's more bad of them than there are good. Just note at this time that I'm going to be talking some really heavy topics. I'll put a timestamp on the video just around this point, so you can skip to forward if you don't want to listen to this, if you don't wish to. And you just want to get to the main point on this video, which I can't blame you if you decide to do that, because, like, last thing I want to do is go on my way to make you feel completely miserable for a good time of your day. But if you are fully prepared and you wish to hear me pour my heart out, then you're a good one. And I love you for that. While many things can be torn apart throughout my 18-plus year career or my venture on YouTube, I mean, my oldest content is old enough to drive, think about that. I can definitely put 3 different major events or even topics that have pretty much affected both my professional and personal life for the longest time, and more than likely for the rest of my life. The first thing being the dissolution of my wife and myself from what we've been calling for the longest time, the old group. So any of my audience members who are listening now that have come from pre-2013, you know that would be a group of people that we were previously affiliated with, and some of them went by the names of Miss Oliver and Blossom, Train Lover 476, Flame Amigo 619, Train Fire Princess, etc, etc, etc. I know most of them are going by different names now, so if you're relatively a new person to my channel, you'll be like, who the heck are those people? But it's okay. I was in a particular bad place mentally near the end of 2012. Just certain realities started to become more relevant in my life at that point, like trying to take care of my family, trying to cope with my own mind, just try really hard to do the right thing, but I feel like, for the most part, didn't really succeed all that well. And I didn't want to be a part among any groups of people who cared about me. At least that's what my mind led me to believe, and I would say anything to get out of it. So I said in text form that I had brain cancer, and I wanted an immediate out, saying goodbye and all that stuff. I texted all that, and a few minutes later, I immediately regretted doing that. I guess that's just the kind of person I am. Like, doing one bad thing, immediately I'll be like, oh no, why did I do that? And this was especially relevant after hearing that one of the group's members was crying from this bombshell, like legitimately, and well, that made me feel worse. Rather than telling them that I was going through a bad thing and I needed time to just figure stuff out, I instead did the whole, ha ha ha, just kidding, lol, it's all cool bro, just as another easy out. And if I'm correct, that was the last time that I've ever messaged that group to them in a friend circle. Just after that, I was just going through my own thing, focus on my own thing, whether it just be doing content or just doing things personally. And near the beginning of 2013, my wife was kicked out of the group because she was still there for a couple of months after that. But she was kicked out for reasons that were her own fault, and honestly, it was kind of their fault too. I feel like both parties was just as guilty as each other, just with their own, like, extreme ways of going stuff. And, well, that was that. At least it should have been. Just also keep in mind what I would go through for a very long time. Just, it seems like I'm going through some kind of depression in a way, just some sort of anxiety or trauma or stuff like that. Just stuff that I wouldn't come to terms with later. That's still relevant to know in my personal life, but it won't come ahead yet, but just keep in mind of that too. So, after hearing a few months later of them planning some sort of big fundraiser event, I think it was like them going to a convention or something like that. I think it was My Little Pony related. I planned out this big smear campaign in hopes of some form of quote-unquote justice for my wife and myself. As you would expect, it backfired horribly, and the group went on to be as successful as ever for a hot minute, and I went off as miserable as ever, just trying to cope with making as many videos as possible and just binge watching a ton of shows in my spare time. Like, I forget the one show in particular that was in Channel 4. It was like British juveniles gaining superpowers and stuff like that. You can put the image on screen if you need to, but the name of the show is really blank right now. I know it has one word, but anyway. Now, if you feel bad for me at this point, don't. Just please don't. At least not entirely. I mean, yeah. It's clear that I was going through a series of mental episodes that should have been treated with professional help and, kept under control with unconditional love from my close friends and family. Even with that, my behavior was still really inexcusable. I wouldn't be surprised if the old group still holds a grudge against me for more than 10 years since then. And come to think of it, I don't think I've ever done an official apology in some form for what I did, so it's a good time as any, so here goes. To everyone that was part of the old group, I am sorry for my actions. Like, more sorry than you could ever know. I know a majority of you are, genuinely good people. I believe that. Like, even after all the videos and all the stuff you would do online is said and done at the end of the day. And you lot do not deserve any kind of bad vibes that have come before I've known you, and especially since then. Like, if anything, it was an honor to be with the same content creators that I watched consistently during and after my college years. Like, alongside watching DBZ, Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and just other random stuff like that, I came across Miss Oliver and Blossom's own Thomas and Friends spoof series. That was just a thing for me that I watched during college when I had spare time. I went through each and every single episode, and them getting progressively better, and I was just really getting into that humor. So major kudos to him, especially. So, and you know, to think that I attempted to ruin that whole thing in one of my darkest points in my life, it just fills me with such regret every time I think too hard about it. But I'm glad I didn't ruin it, at least from what I understand. Like, seeing what's still being put out by active and or positive creative people, that does help me feel at ease. So just know that I'm still continuing to do my best to be a better person than, say, what I was yesterday. And I hope in y'all's own way, you're doing the same, like for each and every one of you. So, yeah. So a couple of years with no resolution, no happy ending for me. It did mess me up even more. Like, real life not being like the movies, not ending that way. Who would have guessed, right? So, over that time, I ended a really, quote-unquote, successful show on my channel, that being The Preschool Guy. I started a new show, Explaining His Magic, which is my attempt to advertise myself as a brony, or a really big fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Then, a few months later, I resurrected The Preschool Guy as an attempt to be part of Channel Awesome, because they were doing some sort of contest at the time, specifically around the time that the Lorex review was released by the Nostalgia Critic. I ended up getting rejected by them, so I was stuck with a show I ultimately did not want to do, alongside everything else. I mean, thinking about it, that could just been like a what if, and I could have just stopped, but that's not what I did. Oh, also, I wanted to get an audition ready for to be a part of the official One Piece dub, just doing additional voices, which, if you don't know, one of my favorite animes of all time. That didn't happen for various reasons, and that also sucked. And as a side note, I should mention, I would start to be developing a drinking problem that would not be ultimately resolved until close to Thanksgiving of 2019. That's another thing entirely, but you don't need to worry about that. I just need to note that in as well. Grant, I've been sober for like 5 years now. The only thing I would drink extensively is like those sparkling ice drinks, especially the black raspberry flavor. Yum, yum, yum. But just so you know about that, just add it to my official wiki page or something. So, one particular evening in 2014, I got really upset. Oh, this is the second point, by the way, if I didn't make myself clear. One particular evening in 2014, I got really upset with my wife and her family for reasons I can't honestly remember myself. Like, I'm sure my wife could tell you what it was, detail by detail, what was being said and what was being done, but my brain is just... I don't think it's ever been brilliant, but recent years being in my 30s, wow, just... Sometimes I can't even trust myself, but that's just my own thing to deal with. So, we got into a big tiffle, so bad to the fact that my mind decided, I'm done. So, I suddenly walked out the garage door without saying a word and just walked endlessly, in the dark, with no real direction in mind. This will go on for at least an hour, until I realized I was close to train tracks. And the worst part of me just really wanted to walk to them. Just stay there and end it all. So I did that with that intention in mind. So by the time I did get there, thankfully, no trains came. Like, not before, not during, by the time I get there, and especially not after, just crossing all the way the other side so I could get back on our big road again. I believe, even back then, a good little part of me was relieved that I wouldn't have to depart from this world by such a coward's end, and not to give anyone close to me, family, friends, give them unresolved question as to why. Why did he do this? But one thing I did feel bigger than others was regret. Like, I do. Like with the last thing with the brain cancer. Like, that's just part of my character, I suppose. So, I just decided to go on home. And by the time I got there, my wife was by the door. And without a word at first, we just hugged like no tomorrow. She's a very good hugger, by the way. One of the best things about her is that she does give the best hugs. I believe her parents followed shortly after, because apparently they were all searching for me. So if that's not a sign of unconditional love, I don't know what is. That whole scenario is what drove me to put together that short film that I did nearly 10 years ago called Save Me, which I released near Christmas of 2015. You know, the one where I shaved my head. And the ending of that short film specifically, that was the reason for that video's existence. Just that character feeling like he's slipping away again. And he's hearing the horn of a diesel train coming and looking out on the train tracks. That part was specifically inspired by my whole ordeal, The More You Know. And sure, there were many other things, just mostly minor compared to that have happened since then. Yeah, and I had to continue to deal with. But that particular day in 2014 single-handedly trumps the others away with its magnitude of impact. And it continues to be one of the biggest regrets that I've had in my life. Now, that all seems like a pretty depressing history lesson. I can imagine some of you thinking, but what does any of what you've been saying for like the last 10 minutes to do with CCTV studios in general? Like, does your personal life go into like the channel in general? The short answer is yes, it does. Undoubtedly, yes. And the long answer is this, and this is my third and final event/topic among the latter, the whole thing. Looking back at the long list of videos that I have posted these past 15 years alone, fills me with more low points and negative emotions than any positive spark that desperately tries to shine through. I mean, yeah, thinking about the content that I did with the all group, that still hurts to look out for reasons, especially after the public outing of one member in particular, but that has already been discussed, even by me in this channel like years ago, so that's not the purpose for this video. I'm not going to discuss it further. I can also picture where I was at life with every single video posted, as I previously stated prior. Whether it be in a cramped apartment or a single-floor house, whether it be I was working in a grocery store or a giant gas station, where I was in relationships with my family members and other friends I am very grateful to have been made over the years. Not specifically online people, but I think majority is like real people that I've seen at work that I've come to meet physically over the years. Just every small accomplishment, every huge failure, I can remember them like no time had passed, as if my mind allows me, obviously. And when it does so hard. For example, explaining as magic only existed to me to convince myself that I loved the My Little Pony show, Friendship is Magic in particular. Do it by force, as a way to try to fit in with the Brony community. And while I did enjoy the show, the My Little Pony show, all the way through, like, I did go all the way through the end of Season 9, looking back, like, it just didn't make sense creating a show, creating nearly 100 episodes, featuring a high-pitched voiced character, quickly going through each episode while doing random comedic or serious skits, those being scattered throughout the whole thing. Maybe that was not the right way to go at it, or even the healthiest way to go at it. I mean, as a side note, Friendship is Summarized, a show that I would make years later involving Friendship is Magic, I feel is more effective at getting its point across and adequate at time. Like, I think... Yeah, Explaining Is Magic has like nearly 100 videos, yuck. But, the latter one only has 12 at least, and that's going by season and by special. I'm perfectly happy with that. And the other thing is, like, since Friendship is Magic ended, I never considered myself a brony since then. That's 5 years ago, so... To where I am right now, like, questioning, like, was all that effort for Explaining Is Magic really worth the 4-year dedication? Like, now that I don't look back on it fondly? And another side note too, just everything I've done for the Dave Chipotle channel was a real hurdle too, in terms of content, just doing the food challenges called SmeFC. That's a prime example, since episodes would be posted on this channel for a while. And I won't say too much about it here, as it has its own channel. But what I will say is that releasing an average of 2 videos based on that one show per week, with the main show being on average for like 30 minutes. There were some episodes that are over an hour, if you can believe it. That was taking its time and toll on me, slowly but surely. Plus, I never got paid, but I never expected to anyway. If anything, we just got paid in food. So that was something. And lastly, while a number of many individual videos and dedicated shows do have some form of cringe factor to me, none of them could ever top what the Preschool Guy did, to me specifically. A show that should have been a dream for me to do, in conception-wise, back in 2012, 2011, whenever I started it, would ultimately become a nightmare, with its retcon style of variety, stolen material from other things, offensive humor if you can believe it, real cringy humor, obnoxiously annoying characters, and really, ultimately, had no right becoming the type of show that it did by the end. You know, when it ended again. I had an ultimate ending in mind, but I backed out, made up another ending, so that alone should tell you I was just done with it. Even by then, I was just done with it. This is definitely a show and an original character that is the prime example of dated representation. And what I mean by that is that acknowledging its purpose that's something... It's the type of show or do the kind of character that I would not do creatively nowadays. Like, its portrayal, especially, I find borderline annoying and terrible myself. So all you people telling me years ago, like, this character is annoying and I didn't listen. No, you were right. Like, now it's just... Even I can't stand it. I can't even yell and scream the way I did back then in those videos, just without, like, coughing out just something wildly or something. I can't do that anymore. At least not like I did, like, constantly. Like, age is one thing, but it's just not funny. It really isn't. He really is the last say on the matter about that. Okay, so that should be all the heavy stuff out of the way. I hope it is. All out in the open. Also, welcome back. If you did skip for the timestamp, by the way. But if you didn't skip it, thank you. So, what's going to become of this channel now after all that? Well, after thinking a long time about it, as well as having a conversation about it with my co-host and good friend Alex, because he's going through the same thing with his channel as of late. He has videos that he doesn't feel comfortable with, and we're trying to figure that out. But for me, I have decided to do what I should have done a long, long time ago. Rebrand the channel. And that will mean reconfiguring content that I feel still holds up and is worth keeping, and removing the rest. And trust me, that rest is a heck of a lot of content. Like a lot. First and foremost, I am going to remove anything related to the Preschool Guy, Explaining His Magic, and One Piece manga dub, as I feel they're the biggest stingers out of all of this. Another topic, probably close, but this is my own content we're talking about. This is my responsibility. Yeah, even One Piece manga dub is bad to me now. Like, no disrespect to the people that joined me in that venture. No regrets either. Like, if it wasn't for any of you, this whole channel the way it is now, it just wouldn't be. But you know, having a character of mine repeatedly drop the N-bomb uncensored, it should have gotten me cancelled years ago for that reason alone. Also, those shows have their own channels anyway, if you just wish to seek those out, but at this point, I don't recommend it, like, at all, highly. I wish to distance myself from them, period. The sad thing is, like, I don't think I can find a way to log on to those channels anyway, just to delete them outright anyway. That sucks. And then, like, the closest next thing, yes. Everything involved with the old group will be deleted too. That includes Can't Catch a Break. I can't say the words. Anyway, Can't Catch a Break. Can't Catch a Break, a Fat Man. Thank you. God, I'm stumbling. That, Sir Top and Hat Bad Week redub that I did. The crossover between Tomy Thomas and Friends and Tri-Mag Chronicles. Cornalo Does Reading, Q&As, streams, skits. No matter how big or small it is, it will be gone. They're not representing my current style. I mean, that's one thing. But that's like over half a dozen people to try and consider too. So, in a way, this is long overdue. And I'm sure by doing that, and if they found out about this, they'll be like, whew, finally. Anyway, and this, I guess it is a purge when you think about it. I don't want to call it like that, but I guess that's what it is. This purge will also include shows that I've ended or cancelled years ago. So now's a good time to list what those shows are. Bleach, the Ultimate Manga. Love of Rock. DBZ Movie Smackdown. Eat It. Snownometer. PlayStation Buster. Jump Scares. 15 Minutes or Less. Sammy's First Thoughts. My interpretation of We're Still Here. Like, wow, that lasted quite a bit. And, Gestationage. Yeah, that's, wow, too many shows and specials being worked on. At one time, at just one period of time. Now I know how Kid Icarus feels. I feel sorry for the dude even more now. And at this point, it is going to have to be with a heavy heart that I must announce the cancellation of Bracketed Snippets, or BS. A show that I initially was excited to release turned into a cesspool of hatred and unenjoyment from my audience. I mean, the angry comments was one thing, which my phone will notify me, by the way, every time that happens. Someone comments in. I just hope, oh, please be something good, and then I just see something that's just like someone yelling at me for not agreeing with their points of view, and it's like, oh man, that's my day ruined. That ultimately was not the intention of the show, to get people on like that. That was never the intention, and I will not have it as a symbol of negativity. So, apologies to the folks that did legitimately enjoy the show. I hope you can understand this decision. Oh, and the Game Grumps compilations. I'm going to be removing those too. I mean, they might be the reason why I have over 4,000 subscribers on my channel, which, thanks by the way. I don't feel comfortable about using other people's online content anymore. If it was like, if I use a reference to it in a YouTube poop or something, then yeah, that's one thing. But as a whole, as their own topic, as its own video, like, as a way to advertise my own channel, like, I just don't feel comfortable about doing that anymore. I didn't make money from my own content anyway due to Google's flawed pay-sense system for like the longest time, so any of that money wasn't going to the Grumps anyway. And I would list off every single little one-off video that I did and I feel like wouldn't make the cut too, but that is a long list, and you lot probably wouldn't remember what they were anyway, so expect all that pre-2012 stuff to be removed too. Additionally, that includes a demo reel. That fat lot of good that did. Now, for all you purists on my channel, if those even exist, If this feels like this to be too extreme and not needed, then first of all, you haven't been hearing me plead my heart out this whole time. And secondly, a good chunk of that stuff I have been saving on flash drives and other forms of saved media management anyway, so those are going to be backed up, and they have been for years now. But I'm not going to be releasing them on their own for the foreseeable future. At least the way they are. Think of it like Alcatraz, except with stupid online videos. Maybe with good behavior, they'll come out for a little bit. Who knows? Who knows? And thirdly, if any of you did have an intention to archive any of my videos, whether for personal use or just forbid uploading it yourselves, first of all, good luck with that. Second, and mainly, I will not stop you. I won't stop you. Like, any YouTube video can be saved by someone else for whatever reason, and obviously, my content, no exception. You do have a deadline, though. Saturday, April 20th will be the last day that you can download any or all of the videos that I have on my channel that have been listed already before I remove them entirely. I won't advertise what sites or tools you can use for that purpose. I would assume you guys would have a general idea. I'm just giving you that option. I'm just giving you that option now. Well, now, that doesn't seem all bad. There is a silver lining to all of this too. Because on April 20th, 2024, CCTV Studios will be rebranded with a new name too. CCTV Worldwide. I know, big change, right? Well, I feel like it is. In fact, here's the newest ident that will be used going forward with future projects. Pretty cool, right? What? Why am I asking? I can't even hear you. Also, why April 20th in particular exactly, you might be asking? It's my little brother's birthday or something, I don't know. Well, the reason for this name change, I feel, is symbolic. With technology the way it's been for years now, information and entertainment can be accessed in a convenient, shared manner compared to, say, like just even 20 years ago. So, why confine my content from a singular location when it can be done anywhere at any time, and for anybody in the entire world to access, like, provided copyright. That wouldn't be an issue, obviously. And yes, this makes more sense in my head. Just hear me here, okay? And while I do plan for more consistently enjoyable content to be planned and released in the future, I will be keeping a good chunk of my old work to be viewed alongside it, maybe even retooling it for potentially easier viewing. The audiobooks and the cover albums are a given, but there's more to that too. Shows like Derp Soul, The Sane Life, and even, like I mentioned before, Friendship is Summarized. I plan to keep even retool a good chunk of that stuff too, like, I believe those still hold up greatly for me. And even the YouTube poops, which is a lot more than you think. I still enjoy those. Also, anything related to Dumbo, like the bundle, is a very good example. Anything related to Super Clean, I know I'll keep. And just other one-ups, other one special videos that I feel like still hold up. So just hearing from that last paragraph alone, I hope you can tell that I still have a passion for content creation, even at the ripe old age of 35. Wow. I'm not... I do have a bit of grey hair showing, just... I'm not going to post a picture of that, I just want you to imagine that. Just, wow, old, right? And while the only time YouTube has paid me for my decade-long career, that was back in 2022. And it was only a 3-digit payment, so... for 10 plus years of hard work, just hundreds and hundreds of videos, just to be given that slap in the face, that hit me quite a bit too. But you know, now more than ever at this point in my life, and this will probably sound incredibly cheesy and lame to say, but it is the truth. A paycheck wasn't ultimately why I chose this path. I mean, the idea back on when YouTube started, I don't think that was even a conception, but now that you can do that, like, that's not my ultimate reason for still doing what I love to do. The idea of expressing myself freely for anyone to see, and with the hope that a lot of those people, like, one person is more than enough. Like, if they enjoyed what I put together and make a positive experience for a point in their lives, that's what keeps me going with these projects. Just also think of it of a heritage railway, like a steam heritage railway specifically. Like, these people probably aren't getting paid for doing what they do when they volunteer, but they do it because it's their passion. They love doing it. And in a weird segue, that's how I feel too. Also, knowing folks get a laugh of my humor and or content, whether they comment in or just in their own personal way, just knowing that means a lot more to me than you think. More than you'll ever know. Maybe even more than the world. So, whether you've been following my work for a really long time or you've just discovered me through various means, let me give a big, giant, super extreme, mega, heartfelt thank you to you all. You guys were awesome already, but knowing that you would dedicate time from your day to watch even one of my videos and get a good kick out of it means that you're just as amazing to me as ever. Any content creator could tell you that. Like, I have to, like, book a portion of my day just to see, like, a new episode that Catechus posted, or this super long playthrough that Jacksepticeye did. I know how it feels just to try and plan that out, just to say, I want to watch it, but it has to be at a good time when I can do it. And I feel like you guys have to do the same, so given that you have to make the choice to, like, that you wanted to watch my content anyway, just wow, that does mean a lot to me, thinking about it more. You may not keep the lights on in my house, but I can keep your kind words and support in my heart. If that's what's gonna keep me motivated, positively motivated, to keep making what I love to do, and more importantly, to keep living. For those reasons alone, I am super grateful. So, thank you again. 2024 is going to be a big time for this channel, CCTV in general. So, whether it pays off or not, or somewhere in between, we will see. But I hope you'll join me in this adventure of mine. I can only promise that you will not be sorry. As for everyone else, well, bye then.